Hello, Ectosage here on the Sage channel. It is Sleep, Art, Game, and Eat. And today, an update came out that added two very cool things. First off would be all those glass panes you see all over there and over there. Bunches of different shapes. I'm going to go over those first. But they also did add these gravity cubes. Or I believe they're actually called, let's find them here, artificial mass. And they're pretty awesome. I'm going to be showing those second. So, first off, here we go, glass. Tons and tons of glass, actually. 1,000,000,001 pieces. They've also rearranged the way that your select items screen works. You can see now we have a scroll bar, whereas before you had the Shift G and Control G to go to things. They still have different stuff here, but it's really just down this certain point. So if I do Shift G, it's really just opening up the screen at like the halfway down mark to show the stuff that would be on the second page, and the third page with the Control G. Anyway, here we go. The glass panes here, you can see 1,000,001 different pieces have been used, and you see they have a bit of a difference depending on what side you're on, and actually between a few of them have a bit of a difference, but I don't think that's exactly intentional. But on the other side, you can see they have this nice reflective surface. It looks really pretty cool. Even if the reflections aren't real, they're just from a reflection map, it's still nice to have something there. And then of course through the side you get a bit of that reflection, but largely you're able to look through it very easily, and it's actually pretty damn awesome to be able to have these. I have a ship that we can fly while looking through some of these earlier. This is just a large hallway I built sort of to show them off, to give you the idea of what all you could build with them, which is an awful lot, because they have all sorts of different slopes and stuff. I'll go over here to the end and you can see some of these slopes a bit closer up. So here we go. We got basically like the ramp pieces we have, the ramp pieces like this one here. We also have a piece of glass that slopes and takes up that same block space. We also have the 2x1 pieces of glass. I just have these flipped around here. There's actually two different types, where if you look down here, I have basically one like this and one like this. And how if I was to put them down, line them up exactly the same, we'll go over on top of this so I can show you properly. You got the one, I'm on number 4 right now, and I place it in, you can see through it this way, but if I fly around this way, you notice it shows the glass. And number 5 one is the exact same way, except for the glass pane is switched. That way you can, it's useful for connecting these in different ways. Depending on what you're building, you might not, let's say you wanted to have this window be on this single line here, but you wanted it on this edge here, but still be dark and reflective like that, you'd have to use this different type of model here, and then flip it around like that, because if you just took the model that we have for this, and flipped it around, voila, it wouldn't exactly look as you intend. So they got a bunch of different ones there. That's what these little arrows are to show sort of which way the light would be going through. I believe it shows light going through it, whichever way that was, yeah, from the inside of the block, I guess. So if there's an arrow on it, that means the light is, it's going to be easier to look through, at least from the inside. Yeah, there we go. So if there isn't a little arrow, that means it's going to be harder to see through from the center point of whichever block you're placing it on. I think that's probably the easiest way to remember it. Anyway, also while I was messing with them, I did find a bit of something strange. As you can see, the light is indeed affected by going through them. Now, you might actually expect this to be switched around. I think it's supposed to, because when you're inside a car, if you're shining a bright light through tinted windows, trying to shine it out, the people on the outside don't exactly see that bright shiny light coming at them, because the part of the reason why it's harder to see into a structure is because not as much light is coming out of said structure as light is going in. So I think these probably need to be flipped around. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure these two need to be flipped around, because more light should be coming in through the dark side than is escaping from the light side, because otherwise why would you be able to see stuff through here? Clearly more light is coming through this way than there is this way, because it's harder to see stuff this way. Anyway, so I think those two shadows just need to be swapped around. I think that's right. I don't know. Maybe people who understand physics slightly better than me are knowing what they're doing, but I don't know, it just seems off to me. Anyway, these are also a few other beams they have here. These aren't like Minecraft connected glass. These are actually just their own custom models here. Or I say custom models, their own models. They're not actually custom. These are in the live game right now. And you can see I can bring them all in and, you know, place them just as I do all the other ones. And so yeah, they're pretty awesome. Also, by the way, if you look over there, you can see some glitches that happen when they're too close to each other. They sort of end up spurging through each other in weird ways, or it's some sort of render glitch, actually. Yeah, but it's not too bad, actually, considering how much, and I have all those windows over there and we're not seeing glitches like that. It's just when they're super close together like that. But yeah, you can see here there's a bunch of different designs you could end up having for walkways, hallways, and all of this. Very cool stuff, very cool. The small issue with this here is that I can't actually get a block that'll connect with this one here, because the small slanted blocks I'm using up here, there's only one version of them right here. the small slope. There's no slope with the light reverse, so if I was trying to place these up here, and I didn't have... yeah, there's just no way to really place them up here. I could use a building block and go like this, and let's just remove this for testing purposes, and then I can place it down right here. Well, it's in place, but as soon as I remove this, technically this block is not connected to this, so it's a bit fishy, it's a bit of an issue, but as long as you're building stations, it's not going to hurt unless you try to copy that whole section, which, as you can see, the whole top section is lost. Bit unfortunate. And here's a few other things. They even have these very awesome, like, corner slants that are too high, and then you can use, there's two different ones of them, so you can flip one around and make this awesome too high slant here, which, I don't know, it's just awesome with stuff that we're going to be able to do now. And you see I got a corner cap here, but it doesn't quite fit because, of course, this block that I'm aiming at right here takes up the whole block space of, you know, this one here. So I have, of course, had to put the cap on the top, basically counting as a block at this height that this one's showing up as. Anyway, let's fly over here. There's one other thing I have to show you guys before I show you the gravity thing, and that's these things here. And boy, does that look weird. But they do indeed have 3 different types of cockpits you can use on large ships and stations now. They got basically a scaled up version of the small ship cockpit, which I highly suspect they're going to be making a different model for this sometime soon, or getting rid of it or something. The back seems like, okay, that makes sense, that could be a door, but oh boy, that looks a bit big, doesn't it? And you hop in there and first person it, and you know, you just suddenly feel a bit like a giant. Anyway, that's that. Of course, we have our bog standard one, where you can look around as per usual, and then we have this awesome one over here, which is actually a cockpit designed for large ships and stations to allow you to fly in first person, which is pretty damn awesome. You can see here, you can still drive in third person, but it's got first person there since a lot of people have been requesting it. Thank you a bunch, devs. You guys are awesome. Now let's go over here and I'll start explaining these artificial masses. These are basically clockwork machines in a lot of ways. What I'm going to do now is show you what the gravity here looks like. Now, this is a bit confusing if you look over there because I got gravity generators in the whole path, but if you look very carefully, and by the way, I did this Alt-Shift-F12, that is Alt-Shift-F12, this brings up these volumes. You can see each of these big green cubes are basically the gravitational effects of gravity generators that I have in the area. And what I've done here is the one on the left, I'm just going to really quickly hide that, there we go. The gravity generator that we have right there is designed to be pushing down, while the one over there, on the bottom there, is designed to be pushing up. And so if I was to, let's say, go into this control panel here, and disable, or actually enable, pardon, the reactor. So let's go control panel, turn on this small reactor. Now that the reactor's on, those artificial masses are being affected by gravity. And I got 4 of them, so as soon as it's over there, they get pushed down and it automatically just swings along because I have the rotor that's there set to have 0 anything. It's just not holding you back at all, and then those push it up. So this is just being driven completely by gravity, which is pretty cool. When you have a rotor, it's not necessarily necessary, but it's still pretty cool, and you can imagine you could keep evolving it, which is sort of what I've done over here. And for this one, to make it display a bit better, I'm actually going to hop into this seat, turn off those gravity generators, the reactors controlling them, hop into here, power this one up, and this one's a bit different. Actually, it should be. Let me double check it really quick. Yep, this one's a bit different, double checked it. Whereas that one had one gravity generator facing one way and one facing the other way, both of these are facing the same direction. So you should end up with a stopping point where it's going to fling up and then sort of just get stuck above me. So let's really quickly turn those gravity generators back on, or below me. And there we go, it gets stuck right there. Now, if I was to go into here, turn this rotor on, let's take one of these gravity generators and turn it off, take a rotor, turn its torque all the way up to full, and its velocity all the way up to full, it's now fighting against that one gravity generator. So as it swings around and it's going too fast to even be stopped by gravity generator. But if we were now to, let's say, pop a few more gravity generators in here, or have even lowered the power on that, but let's just go with the simple fix right now, gravity generators. Now you can see as it flings up, it gets pushed back down. So you can sort of end up having a fair few very, very interesting things. And that's not even a refined gravity generator, so it's still being affected even when it flings over there, but it's actually probably getting pushed back down and back up in a funny way. Anyway, very, very cool. Another thing you could do with these gravity generators, or not gravity generators, but artificial masses, is basically propel your ship, so gravity drive. And this could actually be used to, if you wanted to get rid of engines altogether, you could have a bunch of these. Now, currently there's no easy way to control your ship like that, but in the future you could have it set up so you have, maybe after they get scripting in, WASD could be set up so W power, or S powers these gravity generators to pull it backwards, W powers another set of gravity generators to pull these forwards, and A and D do much the same for left and right, while automatically shutting off the other gravity generators for the other directions. It's clever. But this one's just a basic setup where you have a bunch of these artificial masses and 2 gravity generators set with a very, very, very thin beam. I'll show you right here. Yeah, you can't actually see them because they're off, but they have a very, very thin beam that'll only affect these artificial masses. So this ship will be pulled forward by only its artificial masses and those gravity generators. It's pretty cool. So let's really quickly hop in here. And actually, before I do that, really quickly, I'm going to go and make a copy of this ship just in case everything goes wrong. There we go. Alrighty, so now we're in here. You can see we have another gravity generator. So there's just some reactors at the back of the ship. Nothing special down there, really. Oh, we do have these awesome windows here. The heavy windows just with pieces of glass stuck to the outside. Pretty awesome. And then we have our nice control room here with more of this incredible glass. And it's very nice. I love it. And of course I can hop in here, hold Alt, and look around. And of course control the ship as normal using the mouse, because I have a bunch of gyros in the far back. Now what I'm going to do is turn off my inertial dampers. That way when the ship starts moving, the engines won't automatically try to stop it. And now I'm going to go into my UI, find the 2 gravity generators I named forward 1 and 2, and turn them on. And now that they're on, you can see our ship is very quickly being propelled forward. And I mean very quickly. Check out our speed. We're already up to the maximum speed. And of course, as we turn, it's pulling us in whichever direction I'm pointing, because the gravity generators are pushing, actually they're pushing upwards, all these artificial masses. So I can basically steer and drive the ship around like this without using the engines at all, which means if you wanted to have a ship driven without engines on the outside, you now could. Of course, like I said, you basically would want scripting and stuff sometime in the future to be able to control them more specifically, instead of having to just aim your ship and whatnot and every now and again shut them off. But it's pretty damn cool. I like it a lot. Anyway, let's move on to something else really quickly. Let's actually try to get this up here where I want it. That should be good right there. Let's turn on our inertial dampers. That'll stop us from flinging upwards. And let's try to get over there. And that looks like a decent amount of speed being plunged that way. That might be too much. Okay, that might have gone wrong. See, it's very, very hard to control. I think I've just had an impact. Yeah, I've had an impact. I think we're alright, though. Whatever we hit didn't do too much damage. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to position this to show you the next thing. Okay, while I'm very slowly drifting into position for the next thing, I'm going to show you one last thing. Technically, using these, you don't even need gyroscopes. Because what you could have set up is something like this, where I have the forward 1, forward 2. Forward 1's on top of the ship, or on the bottom, I think, maybe. Yeah, on the bottom. When forward 1 turns on, it pushes the bottom of the ship. Oh, we just got into another field of gravity, but it pushes the bottom of the ship, which means it's aiming the ship upward slightly. You could basically have a whole system set up to navigate your ship with nothing but these, including turning and stuff. It's very, very cool. And once scripting gets in here, now I'm not a scripter, but I'm sure somebody will figure something out that'll let me use. Anyway, now let me get this in position for real at the next place. Alrighty, so here's a bit of something different. I've lined it up finally. I actually copy and pasted the ship and relined it up. But this is basically, instead of having your ship be gravity driven from itself, you could have these acceleration gates, where you'd basically have a bunch of artificial masses on your ship. You'd turn them all on once you got near the gravity gate or in position to be accelerated, and then simply be flung forward. And that's what this thing is above us. I might not have lined it up perfectly, though. Let's hope I did. Yeah, I think we'll fit through it. Basically, this thing just has a bunch of gravity generators, so as I get into it, you'll see these, artificial masses start getting snagged, and voila, I've been accelerated up to full speed. Now, I'm going to hop out of this and show you this again, but in a even longer corridor, which would be this one here. And this corridor is much longer. And the idea behind a very long corridor might be that you don't want to use any power on your ship at all, and you don't exactly want to coast, but you want to make sure you get there super quick. And Ooh, weird sound. Large corridors like this could actually even go around corners if designed properly to slow your ship up and automatically propel it around asteroids or wherever you like. So really quickly, I'm going to hop in here again, and we're going to fly into this one and just watch how easy it makes it from to get from point A to point B using these things. Of course, this one's a bit tight. I think, frankly, I should have maybe built it a bit bigger for a ship like this or built a smaller ship, but you'll get the idea pretty quickly here. So let me just start flying towards it. Inertial damper's off, and there we go. Oh, no, inertial damper's off. There we go. As we get near it, our ship will be pulled into it and sent flying. And you see now I have gravity 1. That's a small gravity generator that's only affecting the walking space inside the ship. You'll see that also change as I get there. So yeah, now you see 4.2, and we're mainly being pulled forward, and even more, and there we go. And whoosh, we're being skyrocketed down this thing at a pretty decent speed. I've also found that the more gravity generators you get, the greater the speed can also be. So if we had a whole bunch of those, we could probably get our speed up to like 140, but last I was testing, it actually sort of locked out at 140 no matter how many we had. It didn't go much faster. So anyway, let me abandon the ship as it shoots off into nowhere. Yeah, if I had waited too much longer, I might have gotten a bit lost. So bye-bye, ship. Yeah, it's pretty cool. One last thing to show you, it's just more of the same little stuff, but I thought it was pretty cool to show. And here we go. This is just that last little thing I wanted to show you guys. These are smaller ships. Now, a small ship, of course, cannot propel itself using gravity generators, but what it can do is just the same thing we did on that bigger one, which is have artificial masses. If I turn all these on, and now I fly into the mouth of this thing, it should grab me any second now. There we go, it's grabbing and it's pulling me through. Now, because of the way you have these set up, the artificial masses, your ship's going to be affected and pulled in different ways. And by the way, if I try to fly back into this, it'll stop us pretty quickly. Because it's a bunch of, see, I didn't turn down there. It's just a bunch of gravity generators pushing you down. So you can't exactly fight against them if you have a lot of artificial masses on you. But if I was to take these artificial masses, there we go, and add some more, so it's more level now. So instead of just having 3 on the bottom, I got 3 on the bottom, 3 on the top, so the ship's going to be more balanced. If I was now to go ahead and to fly into one of these acceleration rings, let me actually fly around it, that way I'm not getting flung away as I try to get near it. I'll have to avoid the gravitational pull of a few of these other stations. You can see I'm getting flung about here a little bit. There we go. You can see now when I fly through, it shouldn't cause us to go adrift as much. There we go. We stayed pretty much in the middle. It's very, very cool. Another cool thing about these smaller ones is, let's say, I need to actually disable those before we drift too close to this thing. Let's say you were out in deep space, and there were one of these large transfer pipes, like this thing in front of me, that kept on going for miles and miles and miles to go between, let's say, 2 large asteroid clusters. And let's say you wanted to get to the next point. Well, if they have openings like this, you could basically jump into one of these at any point, long as provided there's nobody coming. Well, you'd now be in the fast transit lane. All you'd have to do is pop into there and turn on even just one of these would probably be enough to get you going. And you can see that's slowly pulling us downwards. If I pop on, let's say, a few more of these, well, it's pulling us down. Well, we've leveled pretty well. And of course, I can shut off my inertial dampeners, and now it's accelerating us at a very, very fast speed. There we go. Very nice. Anyway, that's about that. There were a few other changes done to this update. If I was to go ahead and read them out really quickly, there was a save games execute in the background. So basically, if I was to go ahead and save, I do save, yes. Oh look, there's no save screen. There was no editing there. There just is, it's just instantly done in the background. So you don't have to worry about that. Autosave suddenly isn't such a problem if it's, something you actually trust to save at the right point. They also changed the speed of meteorites. They actually made them a bit slower, which is pretty cool. Still, sometimes a few of them go past and you don't even realize it, but it's overall pretty cool. And you can also actually be killed by them now. Something I've managed to not be able to have happen before, where I've ran into them and they didn't seem to kill me. Now, they actually do kill you. Another thing that they did is made it so that rendering and game updating are now independent of one another. This increases performance, and they also removed the FPS limit, which is pretty cool. And I think a lot of this stuff being separated out into its individual components is also to get ready for the multiplayer server that's on its way some point in hopefully the near future. So that's about it. Another thing that I should have probably mentioned earlier is that you can indeed color windows. The actual glass stays the same color it normally is. It's just that the frames get colored. Anyway, that's about it, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and if you like Space Engineers, Star Citizen, you should probably check out that live stream that's going to be going on tonight from PAX when they're revealing the dogfighting module. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I believe. Check their website. I just thought I'd throw that in there because I'm looking forward to it a little bit. Anyway, thanks a bunch, guys, for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the Space Engineers update. I'll probably be fiddling with this for the rest of the night while waiting for that live stream, and probably while watching it. Anyway, thanks again for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this update. I sure as hell am. And I'll see you next time. Did I say that?